You know who it is, the horror flick digger did Super 6 Big Mitch. Now kicking in those with 3 O's. And I'm breaking 28s, 101s because we Vegas Suns, it's the Chronicles. And you in the Meadowlands. Yeah, you in the Meadows, man. And you already know what made me. 530. What that mean? Oh, that boy's a desert baby. Oh, yeah. Hubba Dub, Scrub, 22-inch gold Dana Danes, and Big Bolo Yang, I can never sit on my claims. Welcome to Vegas Chronicles with the whole Super 6, Mr. Digger Ditch, Big Mitch. And today, like any other day, y'all know what we do. We kick action with factuals, man, with no additives or no preservatives. Just raw and uncut, Vegas style. Like what? Like summer sausages and crackers. You already know. Shout out to everybody that's been rocking with my platform. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting my little thing I'm trying to do. It ain't all big, you know what I'm saying, like some people, you know what I'm saying, but hey, it's authentic. You know, no fancy doo-wops, no nothing. You know, my intro is raw, like summer sausages and crackers. Shout out to everybody that's been rocking with me, though. You know, I got some interesting questions people want me to answer, and I try to stay with my audience and try to, compensate with my audience. Y'all be looking for that video I got coming out with Jody Snow from Regular Station, man. It's gonna be a powerful video. That's up next. Then we got Suave Rob coming out, man. I got a couple videos I'm finna get back in the studio and really be bringing it back to y'all, man. I took a hiatus, man, for obvious reasons, but I'm finna be bringing y'all back those bangers, man. So y'all be on the lookout for that, man. But let me get into these questions real fast, man. Somebody asked me some interesting questions. Number one, they asked me when it comes to the term the number 357, who had that first, the Playboys or the PIRUs? And I'm gonna be honest with you, the number 357, I don't know who had that first out of the PIRUs or the Playboys. You know what I'm saying? That's they story, and for me to say one or the other, I could be wrong. That's Quando them, that's the PIRU thing or the Playboy thing. I don't know. And another question was asked of me concerning who was the first Bloods on the West Side. Was it the Playboys or was it the PIRUs? From my understanding, it was the Playboys. That's from my understanding. But I could be wrong because I heard people say that's not true. It was the PIRUs. Now they saying that the Playboys, who did come out, and I think in 1978, they were out before the PIRUs, but as official Bloods with the blood handle, some people saying that the PIRUs was right there when the PBs came out or became Bloods. That the PIRUs was right there. The PBs came out in 1972 as Playboys, not Playboy Bloods, as Playboys. When they put the blood handle on there, that's their story. I don't want to get nothing wrong, but the PIRUs, some PIRUs say that they were Bloods when the Playboys turned Bloods. So I don't want to say one way or the other. All I can do is hopefully one day get some originals on here and they can break down their history. That way you get the identification of it and not just my opinion. Because a lot of stuff I speak on, and I put emphasis on this, a lot of things I speak on be my opinion. It be how I grew up. This is how I view Vegas through my eyes, how I came up, my experiences, So when I speak, it's from my experience, that's just to keep things fair because people see things different. Who I think is tough, other people's might not think is tough. Who I think is hard, other people might not feel that way. And there's been some guys that didn't put in work that I haven't mentioned. And the reason why I haven't mentioned is because I probably never ran into them on the streets, or I don't know none of their work, and they might not know none of mine. That's just how the game is. But I'm not finna get all up into that. We gonna move on, man. Somebody asked me, do I feel like I was pressured into joining the GPKs? To be honest with you, yeah. I felt like when I was growing up, I didn't have no choice. I didn't have no choice to be normal. I wasn't really Terrell. I was little sheepdog. And that's what people called me. And people expected me to be a certain way. I didn't really have a say-so in the matter. Now, that's not saying that I'm excusing my behavior because it was my choice at the end of the day. I always had a choice. But I felt like there was shoes laid out for me that I didn't ask for. Yeah, I felt that way. And I felt, growing up, my father left an impression in that area to when people seen me, I reminded them of him, and, they treated me as such. So I grew up kind of fast, man. But I do feel like I was kind of pressured, not bullied, but yeah, I feel like I was pressured into being what I became. And, my mama tried her best with what she had to work with, I love my mama. She tried to steer me away from gang banging, but unfortunately the gravitational pull of the streets just was overwhelming. And that's what I try to bring these videos to home in on. See, a lot of people don't want me to talk to you youngsters about these streets, man, because they like y'all, unaliving each other. People like the chaos because without the chaos, they would have nothing to talk about. They don't have a life of their own. They ain't gonna go out there and do the things a lot of you youngsters will do, but they'll love to kick back and talk about it, laugh about it. But y'all a clown. When people go to the circus, they go to the circus to laugh at the clown. And that's what I was growing up. I was a clown. I thought when people were laughing at me, that was something good, that, I basked in people laughing at me. I basked when people shook their head and told me, man, you stupid. I wore that like a badge of honor. No, I was really stupid. I was really ignorant. I was really the N-word. I really made black people look bad because I targeted my own people. I was so treacherous over there in Herbert Gershon. You ask anybody, I'll pull a gun on a female. I'll rob an old lady. That's how bad my behavior got. And it wasn't because I was a bad kid. It was because I was strung out on drugs. It was because I needed to support my drug habit. And then I was gang banging. And one thing about gang banging, that a lot of people don't understand is that sometimes, like when we be together and we be going up to McNair's Quick Check, a lot of times we run into the BTDs, we run into the 60s, we run into the 50s. We run into different gangs up there and they go down sometimes. Sometimes they don't. We just probably mean mug each other and keep it pushing. But sometimes we go up there and we already be drunk and we be looking for trouble. And we be running into people that's not from gangs. But just because they have on a certain color or they look a certain way, we don't care. It's close enough. And we jump on them and we beat them. And they haven't done nothing to us, man. Everybody that's participated in this game, they can share a similar story to what I just said, where y'all just went somewhere and packed somebody out just because they looked a certain way, just because they had a little red in their shirt, or just because they had on a light blue hat or something, y'all packed them out. And these cats right here don't know nothing about gangs. That's the stuff we do. That's the stuff we did, And that's why our communities became so split. Because those people that we were targeting, them innocent people that didn't have nothing to do with our mess, we target them people, and we brutalized them people, we robbed them people, and them people was our people, and they haven't done nothing wrong to us, and y'all know that, and y'all wonder why y'all falling out, y'all wonder why certain things befall y'all, like and I'm not wishing this on nobody, but you have to look at karma, look at the stuff we did. I'm gonna tell you something. Herbert Gershon became one of the most hated gangs in Las Vegas. I'm going to tell you why. It had a lot to do with gang banging. But I'm going to tell you why. Because you know what the Gershons did? They shut up the Martin Luther King parade. The wax. The Martin Luther King parade. Think about that. I'm going to let that marinate for a minute. The Martin Luther King parade got shut up, right? I'm going to show you how karma works. Y'all remember that? Well, nothing ever really done like that when that happened. That's how bad gang banging got. The wax, they lit up the Martin Luther King parade. And then, what just happened about two and a half years ago? It was a whack unalived by Martin Luther King's statue on Martin Luther King Street. That's how karma come back and get you. Out of all the Gershons, it could have been an alley shot, it could have been a Mac, a 40 block, it could have been a regular Kingsman, it could have been a person from the Love Posse, it could have been a Brownie boy, a trailer court, anything. No, it was a whack. You see? That's the stuff we do. So youngsters, look, man. I'm giving it to you raw and uncut, man. Your fathers, they sit there and they fight with you over and over again to try to get your attention. You go to school, you get the fighting, you getting into stuff. Your mama got bags on her eyes because she preaching. She done been in the streets. Your father done been in the streets. They know what's in the streets. And they trying to keep you out of them. But just like the gravitational pull was too overwhelming for their parents, now they reaping what they sowed. Now they see what their parents went through dealing with them. Because now they dealing with their children. They going to school, stabbing people, fighting the teachers, jumping the teacher, fighting females, beating up females, gang banging, doing all kind of ungodly things in school now. They getting to the point now where they going to have to turn schools into prisons just to keep people safe. And that's sad because that's how they had to educate us. That's sad. When a man got to stand up over you with a shotgun and you in the fenced enclosure with razor wire surrounding you, man, and that's the only way you can be taught. That's what they finna turn them schools up into, man. They go arm them teachers. They putting in metal detectors. It's gonna be all kind of stuff going on in them schools just to keep people safe because of the children's behavior. Because the behavior that they bring in the school is behavior that they picking up. I'm not gonna say from at home, but from their communities, from their culture, they picking it up from somewhere and taking it to school. They not getting it from school and taking it home. We have to be more accountable for what we doing, man. We as a people. You know, we grew up so hard. We grew up willing to take them fades and fight, but we can't even raise our own goddamn kids, man. That's sad, man. That's sad. We ourselves being gangbangers, especially over here in Las Vegas. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. I'm from the West Side. I'm from the West Side. And I'm not saying my side is better than nobody. I don't do that. I'm talking about I'm from the West Side, man. On the West Side, you have 3 of the largest blood gangs in Las Vegas. West Coast Bloods, PIRUs, and Playboys. And then you have Burgundy Square PIRUs, so you have 4. Right? And they all in the same area. They all in the same area. I grew up fighting them, man. I grew up fighting the rolling 60s who's right up the street. The Delmonico, the BTDs who's right up the street, man. I grew up raw, rough. We had to fight. The females, everybody. We was fighting up over there, man. It got bad up over there, man. And we wasn't turning down nothing. And as hard as we were fighting up over there, from the females to the males, as hard as we was fighting, you mean to tell me we can't get our children out the street? All the stuff that we was doing, the way we was rat packing one another, we can't get our children out the street? Huh? Come on, man. Come on, man. I can sit up here and I can talk about how the NTGs, you know, got into it with the Gersons and the Bloods or whatever, and came and sprayed up shades and did all that. I could talk about how the Gersons went over there and sprayed up the coast, or the coast and came over there and sprayed up the Gerson, or Donald and sprayed up Crip City, and vice versa. I could talk about that all day. But you know what I'm really talking about? I'm talking about black people destroying black people. When you take off them rags and all that bullcrap we put on, man, when you stop doing all this weird stuff and all that right there, and you really act normal, man, we black folks, man. And everybody that's from a neighborhood is some kin to somebody that's from another neighborhood. We all relatives. We all relatives. And it's sad that sometimes we have to sit back and watch our relatives become unalived by a homeboy that ain't even no kin to us. We watching our relatives become unalive. That's your blood. So banging thicker than blood. Those bandanas is thicker than blood. A lot of my families is bloods. And I could never put in work with my family. House from rolling 60s, my cousin. I got cousins that's 60s, cousins that's from everywhere, man. That's my family. So how could we get caught up like this, man? You know, a youngster told me, AOG, I hear what you be saying, but it's gonna be hard, man. These youngsters ain't gonna listen. Why? Why they not gonna listen? They listen in the penitentiary when them Serenos get to cracking. When them Southsiders get to cracking, them youngsters listen in because they not trained. A lot of them don't know what to do when them knives come out. Them Serenos come out every day in the penitentiary and they prepare for war. They have to work out every day. They have to do burpees every day. They break off in groups of 5 and they preparing for war while these youngsters is walking around twisting up their dreads and making beats on their chest. These Serenos up over here is working out. You see? And unfortunately, the way the penitentiary system is now, because just like the blacks is not together on the street, they not together in there. And that's our greatest Achilles heel. We can't be together because there's too many big eyes and little U's. People don't support what I'm doing, even though it's positive. When I was negative, when I was gang banging, people was wishing I stopped gang banging and I was doing something positive. They used to try to talk to me, ask me why I'm doing this, why don't I do this. Now that I'm doing it, they still don't support you. They won't support you, but that's cool because God see what you doing. God see what I'm doing. And God see what y'all doing too. You see? That's all that matter. Now, y'all see what's going on in America, right? Y'all see what's going on in Chicago, right? Y'all see what's going on, man. They hitting black neighborhoods and things like that, arresting people with warrants when they said that they was going out the criminals, when they was going out the illegals and stuff like that. Y'all see what's going on, right? That's called fascism. That's the same thing Mussolini and Hitler did and Stalin did to maintain control of power. So when it comes to voting, your vote really don't matter. They showing you that your vote is not gonna matter. When certain people time is up in office, what's gonna happen when they refuse to leave? They putting military personnel strategically in other cities. Who's gonna stop them from leaving, from standing in power? Y'all don't get it, huh? Y'all don't get it. Nah, y'all don't get it. They defying federal judges' orders, and they still sending troops into Portland and other places. They defying federal judges' orders, meaning that they don't care what a federal judge says. Who was one of the first people to do that? Hitler. Y'all better pay attention, man. What's going on is very dangerous, man. We're in a very dangerous time right now. We're in a very dangerous time. People with masks on is jumping out, kidnapping other people. And they not answering no questions. They not saying who they are. They just jumping out, snatching people. Well, what's going to stop some other people from dressing up like that and jumping out and snatching other people? Just doing it. Y'all see what's going on, man. And y'all still too busy caught up with this internet. Y'all attention still is so caught up on these other cats. And I don't hate on people like, 607, you know who else. I don't hate on people like that. I don't hate on nobody, man. But if a person like that can grab y'all attention and keep y'all attention on him and deflect what's really going on from around you, man. When you see people screaming, when you see people being put in zip ties, little kids being put in good ties, zip ties, and the government saying F them kids and stuff like that, and stuff like this is going on, and y'all still focused on the internet, man. That's cold, man. That's cold. So a lot of us that thought Project 2025 wasn't real, how you feel about it now? How you feel about it now? They basically saying the Constitution don't mean nothing. Look at what's going on. Look at the rhetoric they using. And look at the people they inciting. Look at the base they inciting. Think about that. They know how to play to people's, animosity, hatred, fear. And that's what they doing. They fear mongering. That's what they doing. And then they're making everything racial. speaking of racial, let me say this. You know, I remember Martin Luther King when he was marching. One of his staunchest supporters was Cesar Chavez, the great Hispanic, the great Mexican laborer. And it breaks my heart to hear so much anti-blackness being spewed from Hispanics, but in the same sense, they asking us why we not helping them in their situation. Unfortunately for them, and I'm not saying all of them because there's a lot of good Hispanics that I stand 10 toes down with, but it's some that didn't embrace that ideology that these old racist white folks been spewing for oh so long. Those fictitious lies. And for some reason, they feel that they more, I ain't gonna say superior, because I don't see how they can feel superior to us, but they've been emboldened, I don't know through what, to just display their anti-blackness and use this N-word and stuff like that. Well, let me tell you something. If it don't be for Jasper Yanga, look him up. Jasper Yanga, the slave that helped y'all win your independence from Spain. When Hernan Cortez, who came from Cuba, he arrived in Mexico looking for gold. And what did he do? He met Montezuma, which was the Aztec chief. But he seen that they were a fickle race and they were scarce. So he didn't enslave them. What he did is he unalived the males and he made it with the women. And that's how he brought forth the Mexican. But Jasper Yanga, a slave that was brought up over there, who escaped captivity, helped y'all win your independence from Spain. Look that up. So before you look or try to look down on us or spew your hatred toward us, it was my people that helped you win your independence from the Spaniards. And you people know that. So my thing is this here, man. You know, we as blacks understand the struggle. We've been in one since we've been up over here. My people, the black people, and I'm not trying to put down no other race. I respect all races and religion. But what cannot be denied is that my people, when you look at the Dred Scott decision, Plessy versus Ferguson, the Civil Rights Act, and a whole bunch of more, man, my people is the reason why you had the rights you have. Remember, at one point in time, there was only whites only and coloreds. At one, see, there never was no Hispanic codes. There was only black codes, and Jim Crow aimed at black folks. 40 Acres and a Mule was made for us. You see? It was our people marching on Selma. It was our people saying that we shall overcome. It was our people losing their lives. It was our people that was fighting for the liberation of everybody. It was our people they dropped the bomb on over there in Philadelphia. How could you ever say you better than me or my people? Look, man, we as black people, we have to understand that the only thing that we have over here in the United States of America is ourselves, man. And once we realize that, we will become a greater people, because that's what made our ancestors a great people. The only thing that they had over here was themselves and a yearning to be free. That's what we lacking. We lacking that unity, that solidarity that made us the resilient people that we are. We have to tap back up into that. We do. Because they trying to undo everything our ancestors really fought and lost their lives for. They put in that real work that we didn't have to. They the ones that boycotted the transportation system for 300 and something days. We didn't do that. We didn't have to. They did that so we wouldn't have to. They got their heads split on a bridge over there in Selma so we wouldn't have to. Look at the 4 girls that lost their lives during the bombing of Birmingham, Alabama, in that church up over there. Look at what our people went through. Look at the Emmett Tills. Look at the Stokely Carmichaels. Look at the Fannie Lou Hammers, the Democratic Freedom Riders. Look at our ancestors that had to go up against Bull Connors and George Wallace. Really think about that. Our ancestors fought real racism. They had to sit down at stools and restaurants while people spit in their face. When they turned the water hose on 12-year-olds, sucked dogs on 12-year-olds, sent 12 and 13-year-olds to jail, separated the men from the women like they doing now. We've been going through that. And you know what? Our people still came back front and center. They withstood everything that these people could throw at them. From the Tuskegee experiments, you think about it. You from Margaret Sanger and eugenics, you think about it. Our people went through. But we still here. But we still here. You see? And we gonna be here. We God's people. We good people. And our children, they deserve a chance to live free. And it's up to us. It is, man. Each and every one of us. It's time for y'all to man up. Y'all say y'all this and y'all say y'all that. Well, it's time to be that. It is. Put them drugs down. Put your ego down. Put them tall cans down. Pick up your manhood. Defend your woman, man. Get your kids out the street.